All right, so it says, some people believe that advertising is socially pernicious. It changes consumers' preferences, thereby manipulating people into wanting things they would not otherwise want. What does some mean?
Less than 50,
Okay, so some that is true, but some actually means at least one.
at least one. Okay.
So at least one person believes that advertising is socially pernicious, which is that advertising, because it is referring to advertising, right? Advertising changes consumers' preferences, thereby manipulating people into wanting things they would not otherwise want. And then we have a point of contention or contrast where we say, however, classes in music and art appreciation change people's and art. Classes in music and art appreciation change people's preferences for various forms of art and music, and there is nothing wrong with these classes. Therefore, so what kind of part of the argument do you think is that we're going to try to find here? Like,
The
what is
conclusion.
the conclusion? Yes. So this is kind of like a must be true question, right?
Mhm.
Because we're going to say, like, based on what we know here, what else has to be true? Did you make a prediction here? Like,
Mm,
what do you think we can conclude based on the two sentences that this provides?
so I would say, like, what I thought was that it does changes people's like belief.
Okay, so what do you think that, okay, so we're saying, hey, some people think that advertising is wrong because it changes people's preferences, right?
Yeah.
But then we say, but hey, music and art classes change people's preferences, and there's nothing wrong with these music and art classes, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, what do you think that we're going to conclude if we use this
It's
sentence?
not wrong
It's not wrong to what?
to change people's preferences or
Uh,
like
of what? For what? You're right. You're right. What are we talking about
um,
though? We know it's not wrong to change people's preferences in the music and art. So
what they want.
what are we trying to apply that to? Why do we talk about these classes in music and art changing people's preferences? Why do we include that in this argument?
I don't know, maybe as an example to
Yeah,
support it.
yeah, we're trying to say that it's not wrong for advertising to change people's
Okay.
preferences, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what answers were you debating between?
So I was debating between C and E, and I definitely like I chose C, but then it was E.
It is not completely accurate to
I
say.
mean, I chose E and not C.
Okay, okay, good. So C is not correct because it says it is not completely accurate to say that advertising changes people's preferences. Is that true? Are we trying to say that advertising does not change people's preferences?
No, we're not saying that.
No. What we're saying that I think that we actually agree probably that
Yeah.
advertising changes people's preferences. So therefore, C says the fact that advertising changes consumers' preferences does
Mm,
not establish that it's bad. Can this be concluded based on what we provide in our stimulus?
yeah.
Right. Because and the support that we have is like, hey, well, classes in music and art changes people's preferences, and that's not bad. So how can you say that advertising is bad for changing people's preferences?
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's why it's C.
True. And honestly, now looking at it, it's like E, it's focusing on how it changes people's preferences, but it's really not saying how it's not bad.
Correct. And we're not even talking about it changing people's preferences
Yeah.
accurate or not anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.